no one ever really knows what the stock is gonna do. We're just playing our strategy. All right. So that in itself is a mindset that could shift a lot of decision making that we make. All right. So in Wellness Wednesdays, we pretty much break down the psychology of trading in many different ways. The psychology of traders that are actually buying and selling, the psychology of yourself, the trader who's making the decisions, um, the psychology as a whole, right, of the entire map that we're looking at. So there's a lot to talk about when it comes to wellness. You could talk about fitness, right, and how exercise and eating right, getting enough sleep, all of that stuff actually helps you trade better, which actually helps you make more money, right? So we always say that trading is one of the hardest jobs in the world, and the amount of money that you make, that you could make, reflects that, right? Is literally a blank check once you check all the boxes, no pun intended, right? You have to master yourself before you're able to master consistent profits. I think I said that. I had a line in my book where I said, in order to master, yeah, you got to master your mind in order to master consistent profits. And the name of the book is
We'll get a pullback
Mastering Trading Consistency. So the whole entire book is about mastering consistency. And we're going to notice that
like this going to
consistency isn't as easy as it sounds, right? Even though we're all consistent at something, to be consistent in trading is one of the hardest things to do.
Monday is the high of the week, so that's pretty much
Fid
the target.
says, I love your book. Thank you. The book is free, by the way, if you guys have not downloaded the book. It's pretty simple, things like 20 pages, and it's really straight to the point. So yeah, the book is available. And it's all about mastering trading consistency, which is what we all want, right? And there is no fluff to it. It's a lot of stuff that we're gonna hear on YouTube if we haven't heard already, or on Instagram. Patience and discipline, right? And that's what you need to be consistent, right? And they're not wrong, right? They're not wrong. You definitely do need a lot of that stuff. But exactly what does that mean? And how do we apply it to our trading? That's what we really need to know, right? And for each person is going to be a little bit different, and it's going to be our own journey because we all have a different mindset, different background, different way of believing. And it's cool because in the market, there's 1,000 different strategies you could choose from, right? And the goal is to build a system, right? A trading system, right? Call it a trading business, a trading routine, whatever it is, a process that works for you, right? And even just when I say works for you, that in itself is complex. Like, which version of you, right? The version of you that wants money, the version of you that actually wants to do things right, the version of you, um, all the versions of you in between that, right? Because that's a spectrum of the person of you who just wants it for the money, right? Who just wants to trade properly for the money, and there is a version of you who actually wants to have a consistent flow of money for a lifetime. And it sounds like the same thing, but it's not, right? Because that small difference in perspective could make the biggest difference in all your decision making and trading, right? If you're doing it just for the money, right, with no context behind it, then you're gonna make more short-term decisions, right? Such as you're in a trade, maybe up 50%, and you just want more, right? Why? Because that's coming from the version of you who just wants money, right? But the version of you who wants a consistent flow of money for a lifetime, that comes with a different set of different mindset, because that might take a mindset that sees when you're up 50%, it believes, hey, I must take this because I can't risk losing this 50%. Why? Because over the long run, over the course of days, weeks, and months and years, that 50% is a high probability win rate. Anything past that becomes high risk, right? So even though it sounds like the same mentality of money, right? It's the way we look at the money and the context behind it that really matters, right? And we're all in this for money, right? And it's not good or it's not bad. It's just the context and how we approach it, right? And when I started trading, definitely didn't care about psychology, didn't know much of this even mattered in the grand scheme of me making $1 million at some point in my life. And eventually, year after year after year, I realized that it mattered more and more each week. And at this point, more than 6 years in, it's the number one thing that matters, right? Because like I said, there's 100 different strategies you could choose from. They all work, right? The thing is, how do we get ourselves to follow it? And the thing that's in the way of us following it is our own mind, right? It's us having the ability to manage our own mind. And what does that mean? The ability to manage our thoughts, actions, pretty much decisions, right? You can mix that in there with action, because I believe a decision itself is an action. It's a mental action, right? So with this said, I want us to start seeing improvement in trading as an improvement in our mindset. And like I said, it's going to come in all different types of ways. That's why we do Wellness Wednesdays every Wednesday, because there's a lot to cover, right? But today, we are going to cover a little bit of patience, a little bit of discipline, and a little bit of planning. And I know it all sounds like different things, but they kind of all wrapped up together when it comes to trading. Because you can't really have patience without discipline. And I haven't really figured this one out yet, but I know discipline and planning is intertwined in some sort of way. But we'll get into it, right? But just understand that with trading, you got to check all the boxes in order to be consistently profitable. Because anyone could be profitable, right? Bring your little brother, your little sister, your kid, your mom, whoever it is, set them up with an account, tell them to take their first trade. They have just as much as a great chance at winning on that first trade as anyone else, right? It doesn't take much to win a trade, but it takes a whole lot to consistently win trades, right? Under certain conditions and also under different conditions, right? It's all going to test different parts of who you are, the trader, and you might be pretty good in one condition, but then when the market presents a different set of conditions, it's going to require a different part of who you are as a trader. And when we all start this game, most likely none of us have developed any of these parts. We have the capability and we have the foundation, maybe more than others. Some people less, but we all have to pretty much reprogram our brain, which sounds scary. But we're our brain is being programmed every day. It's just a matter of us actually taking the control and being the programmer instead of the one who's just complacent and whatever goes is okay, I'm going with it, and if that's how you are as a person, then you're going to be the type of person who follows these candlesticks. Whenever it turns green, you're going to be thinking it should go up. Whenever it turns red, they're going to be thinking it should go down. And it's going to be a little bit of a headache because you're going to need to know a little bit more than that to be consistently profitable, right? I mean, it does matter, but you want to think about these candles in the way that needs to be thought about, and only you could tell yourself that, right? And I know it's like a loaded question. In my head, it's kind of like so many ways I've seen people explain candles. Like I said, there's not only one way to see it, but you would have to define it for yourself. Of course, yeah, one is red, one's green, but when you see this candle, it might mean something different to you than a lot of other different people. So that's more of what I'm getting at. But yeah, let me get back to the script. And the script today is patience, discipline, planning, right? They all go together. And I do want to talk about the difference between self-discipline and discipline, right? That's another big part of why it's so hard to be consistent at trading. But it's so easy for us to show up for 9 to 5 and follow orders from someone else, right? The difference comes where instead of following orders from someone else, right, we're going to be the one to have to give those orders, and we're going to have to be the one to follow those orders, which is actually much harder than following orders from someone else, which is kind of weird, right? And it kind of just it shows it really like exposes the self-doubt in us when we see that we told ourselves to do something and we didn't do it. But if we have a job and someone else tells us to do something, our mom or our dad or whoever it is that we respect, if they tell us to do something, oh, we'll do it, no matter what. So the respect that we have for others is very clear, right? The respect we have for our job is very clear. It's a good thing. But the respect we have for ourselves, that's a whole nother ballpark. That's a whole nother category that we have to deal with in trading, right? Um, I think about this: real estate versus the stock market, right? Those are one of the top two means of income. I say getting rich. Um, but I always say trading is hard. I don't want to say when it's harder, but I like to say it's not as easy. Right? It's not as easy in trading because the difference is you have to literally reprogram yourself. You have to reprogram your own mind just to simply be consistently profitable, right? You don't keep any money in trading until you get to that point. In real estate, obviously you have to do your work. A lot of work goes in any field, but I feel like it doesn't fully require you to change and reprogram yourself in order to make money. You could sell a house without having to fully reprogram yourself, in my opinion. Right. Um, and to do consistently, I guess that's different, you know, situation. But we're gonna stick with trading because I don't know real estate like that. So, but in trading, the whole name of the game is you versus your mind. Right? It's you versus your mind. So we got a couple people coming on in. We are gonna admit. All right, welcome. Appreciate everybody for being here. We are talking about patience, discipline, and planning. All right, but more specifically, we're talking about the difference between self-discipline and discipline, right? Why is it easy for us to follow instructions from someone else rather than following instructions from ourselves, right? And when we go through our trading experiences, we're gonna realize, man, I didn't do what I said I was gonna do. Man, I should have exited here. Man, I should have did this. Right? It's it's all a shoulda, coulda, woulda. Which is cool, and it's good that we're being aware of it. But the difference in not doing the same thing comes in first write it. You gotta write it down, right? You gotta write it down. All right, that's step one. Because if you don't, it's a very high chance you're gonna do it again. All right, so we gotta have that journal. The journal is very important. And I'm a guy. The sound of having a journal isn't really that exciting to me, but just thinking about me making the same mistake, if I don't write it down, that makes me want to actually have a journal. And just I don't know. I guess I don't know. I'm more of a introvert, so I'm paying more attention to the inside of my body, right? Or I guess the mental side. I'm very much in my head, right? I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So I'm studying my thoughts and everything a lot more, right? So that's why another reason why I have my journal, another reason why I like talking about the mind a lot, right? And that's why we have Wellness Wednesdays, and probably why I like trading, because trading, like I said, you only make money once you get through your mind. So I really just want to address the main issue that we're having as traders, and that's the ability to follow our own instructions. Yeah, I was supposed to wake up to go work out at like 6 a.m. for a couple of weeks now, and I haven't done it until yesterday, right? Just until yesterday. So, and I'm a personal trainer, right? And you would think, oh, personal trainers have an easy time, right? But I told myself I should be doing it. But when the time came, I had these other things that I thought was more important, right? One, which is my sleep, right? So it's kind of like a dilemma where it is very, very important, especially understanding trading. Um, you want to detox your brain and give enough rest to come back and do the same thing. And if you don't, then you might as well take a day off, because your mind's not even working properly, right? All the mental fog and everything. So, you know, Alexandria is in the building. She had everybody in her class. She had the whole family reunion. But thank you for coming on by. All right, so we got a big class right now, in my opinion. So if uh if everyone could just type one thing that has been an obstacle in your trading this week, what was it? Something simple. One little sentence, one word. What an obstacle, even if you're a beginner experience, right? So we're gonna get to know everyone here by the obstacles that they're facing right now. All right, we got some good ones, right? So doing it, that is probably the core reason for Wellness Wednesday, right? We all know what to do, but to actually do it, that's what we want to figure out. How do we do it? Fear. All right, I'm seeing some fear in the chat. All right, fear. Fear is in the mind. All right, patience. Let me start calling out some names in here. Katrina's in the building. Jeannie is in the building. Crystal, we got Mary. All right. Sean says confidence. All right. Alexandria says frustration in the reality of where the market is going, man, it's been all types of ups and downs. Fid said, man, waking up a 1 hour earlier so she could trade futures with Alexandria. Yeah, that's a battle. That's a battle in itself. Waking up, right? Because as soon as it's time for you to wake up, that's when the bed get that much more comfier. I really think it's a mental, it's a trick. All right, Kimberly says confidence. Tracy says had a migraine. Man, this market is crazy. Jarvis says confusion with the price going against the plan. Confusion with the price. Yes. So these are all. So if you guys look at this, these are all different battles that we're all facing. And notice it's all happening in our mind. Right? We all look at the same market, but one person is dealing with fear, one person is dealing with confidence, which is kind of, this two sides of the same thing. Frustration of what the market is gonna do, confusion, right? So there's emotional obstacles, right? And then there's logical obstacles, right? And then there's physical, right? Someone said they had a migraine. And then even when you probably know it all, right? You know what the market is gonna do. Maybe you just have an issue actually doing it, right? Maybe you know your strategy, you know your risk, you know all that. You know everything, probably already know everything I'm about to say. But then it's actually doing it. That's where the last the line of soldiers, I guess. Alexandria, she was in the Navy. So she knows of the army. My bad. She could
What the hell? Oh, okay. I was
correct
finna
me.
say. No, I was finna say.
Right?
I'm
She
so
knows.
yeah.
But you're gonna have to actually do it at some point, and you have to go through all of those emotions, right? The emotion of fear, greed, right? I had that one today. Greed. I was up 100%. I ain't take that. Right? Up 100% and I ain't take that, right? Um so even when you figure it out, you still got to figure some stuff out. And that's why we say it's a journey. All right? Even when you make the money, you got to keep the money. Well, it's going to be somebody else's money. All right? And it doesn't require us to know everything. So we got to put that out there. It doesn't require us to win every trade. You got to remember that there's some traders, some people on Wall Street somewhere, and they have a 30% win rate, making over millions of dollars a year. All right, with a 30% win rate. How was it done? Risk management, right? Trading management, money management. And that's really the bag, right? Being able to manage, right? To be a manager. Someone that I knew, they said they had a job. They got a new job as a manager at at this new store. And I'm like, you don't know nothing about. Okay. Okay, yeah, it was Sam. Is Sam here? Sam's sister. All right.
I'm here.
My girlfriend's sister. She got a new job at a pet store. Right? And she was the manager. And I'm like, was it a pet store? It was some store. And I'm like, when did you have experience
It
in
was
this?
it was
And
like a
she really
luxury
never had
pet
any experience
store.
in that. But they hired her to be like a top level manager. And it made me realize that you could have no experience with like a certain product or anything, but it's just the fact that your skill is managing, like you're a great manager at whatever it is, like that is a whole like skill, like a whole skill set just by itself, being able to manage. And I don't know, it doesn't sound like an exciting job. Hey, I'm a manager, right? But that is one of the biggest things. All right, so I got a message here. It says your speaker isn't on your end. You can't hear us when we turn our mic on. All right, so my speaker definitely isn't on. But yeah, I muted everybody too. So I'm not able to hear anybody right now. But yeah. Send a message in the chat if you guys want me to unmute. Had a couple background noise. All right, cool. So yeah, we got patience, discipline, and planning. Why did I say it like that? Planning. And man, I'm trying to find how to connect that to what we were just saying. All those things about management. Because in order to manage, you got to plan, right? And in order to be disciplined, you got to know what to be disciplined to. And in order to be patient, you have to be disciplined in the moment. And it's only when you're disciplined over the course of a series of moments, that's when we recognize it as patience, right? But we got to remember that to be patient means you have to, for example, stop yourself from falling for your desire, which might be entering a trade when you're not supposed to, but it looks really good, but you're not supposed to, right? It requires discipline. But when you have that discipline, when you extend that discipline over maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, we call that patience, right? But you got to remember, it required discipline. So you can't have patience without discipline, right? You can't have discipline. And I mean, I say that you can't discipline, but I guess I'm still kind of figuring out the exact concrete dots to connect, but I want to say you can't have discipline without planning, right? You got to at least know what you're being disciplined to, right? Are you disciplined to being, for me, I was a track runner in high school. So in order for me to win the championship, I had to be disciplined at running my miles every day, right? So for me to be disciplined as a track runner, I had to run 10 miles every day or whatever the case, finish my workout, eat my certain foods, right? And as a trader, is going to require you to be disciplined in that field. So I want everyone to see, hey, discipline, patience, planning, it all goes together. And the goal is to break that down and see what's required, right? Before we even look at ourselves and say, hey, we're not enough or we're too much of this or whatever the case is, see what's required first and then align yourself with that, right? Because I heard he was like a mental coach for athletes, but he said there is there's just what's required, right? People think, oh, I did enough work, I did enough studying, I did enough trades, I did enough this, I made enough money, it did whatever the case, to become a consistently profitable trader, right? We think we have done enough, and maybe you did a lot. Maybe it took a lot of years, maybe a lot of work, a lot of intensity, and you feel like it's enough, but the results don't care about how you feel, how you feel about how much work you did. All it cares about is, did you meet the requirement? And it's a very hard line. Did you meet the requirement to be patient, disciplined, and plan everything that goes into your trading system? So the reason why I'm saying this is so that we have awareness of the mental side of trading, and not just saying, oh, it takes discipline, it takes patience, but we're actually taking a magnifying glass and we're connecting the dots to exactly what that means and how we could apply it. Right? What's the sense of talking about it if we're not talking about how do we apply it? Right? So discipline, what does that look like? That looks like you going through each time frame to see everything, right? Maybe some things you're looking at very deeply on maybe the 5-minute time frame, but then when you go to the 4-hour time frame, you're just passing through it. Like, okay, I looked at the 4-hour, let me go to the daily. But did you really check everything? Right? So it's like little things like that. You got to be disciplined at going through your checklist, but then actually putting your energy into it, right? So this goes back to managing. And I know I'm kind of all over the place, but I'm just coming back to the whole idea of management, because really, when we look at the whole aspect of trading, the whole aspect of really life, it comes down to being a great manager. But what are we managing? We're managing our time, our energy, and you throw money in there, right? We're managing a lot, but I'm going to focus on those three: our time, our energy, and money. And that's why they say you can learn a lot. You get a lot of wisdom from just going on a trading journey. Even if you're not profitable, you're going to learn 1 year of doing trading will be like 10 years of wisdom in the real life, right? Because you're directly facing yourself and all of your flaws, your mental flaws that like the regular day-to-day life wouldn't really expose those out of you. So you might go on 5-10 years without realizing how greedy you are, right? Or how fearful you could be, right? Or how undisciplined you are, right? So I came in here as the track runner, right? I'm a champion. I'm the most disciplined. I'm the most patient person in the world, right? Until I realized I couldn't follow my trading plan. And I'm like, wait, what's going on? And they said, okay, you gotta be patient, you gotta be cool, you gotta be calm. Okay, I'm cool, I'm calm, I'm collected, but I still didn't hit my stop loss, right? So we think we hear emotion, we hear patience and all, and we think, okay, soft and all right, Zen. To a degree, yes, Zen, but we're thinking more on like the surface level emotion, the emotion you could see, the emotion you could feel. But the real emotion we're really getting at is the subconscious emotions that you will feel this emotion and not even know that it's even there, right? You'll feel this emotion, and on the surface, you'll have another emotion surfacing it. What do you say? Overlapping that emotion, right? So you got a nice smile on your face. You're all calm, you're collected on the surface, on video, but in your subconscious mind, you're freaking out. But you're not freaking out. But you're in your subconscious mind, you are, but you don't know that, right? Until maybe you go through the experience and then something happens, and so on, so on. So the whole goal becomes being aware of those emotions that's in our subconscious. Another way of saying that is, what is our mental environment. And we want to know that really, really well. And the only way we get to know that is by going through experiences and writing it down. And you want to do that over and over and over until you have a set of notes that you could look at and you see all your flaws. And you could literally look at it on paper and say, okay, you don't know how to follow your stop loss. You know you have a strategy, but you don't know where to get out, right? You keep falling for these breakout trades. Maybe like you keep entering when the candle turns green or the candle turns red if you're trying to go down. So at least you know where you're messing up and you want to start there and figure out why. And maybe you just don't know, but you're just observing. Why could this be? And yeah, that's how you is that's the dirty work, right? That's the dirty work. And you're gonna have to do it regardless. And that's why you see a lot of people don't make it, because yeah, they could sit here and they could watch somebody and they could learn, right? They could sit in class for 3 hours and they do understand the strategy, right? But like I said, it's more than just a strategy, it's themselves. I was that person in calculus in college, and I sat there for a whole semester and I said, yes, I understand it because you did it on the board and I see the process and it makes sense. I know I could do it myself because I understand it. And then the test came and I'm like, this is the same stuff. I know how to do this. And I went to do this, the next step, and I just couldn't figure it out. I couldn't remember. My brain just couldn't remember, but I knew it. Long story short, I got an F. Came back next semester realizing, dang, I understood it on the board, but I didn't do the work. So let me do the work this time. Let me actually do the homework. Let me actually go through the problems on the homework, right? Let me go and check, right? And long story short, I got an A+ that semester. I don't know how I got the plus or the A, but it happened. And the difference was because I actually went through the steps step by step. And it was annoying because I would get to a step and I didn't know what to do. And who wants to sit there and try to figure out what to do when you don't know what to do? Right? That's the annoying part. And that's why most people don't make it. On top of that, they come in with the mindset that this should be easy because everyone else is doing it and they're making money. And I should be making money too because I sat here and I watched the class and I understand the strategy, but I haven't done the actual work myself. All right. And it's not only with just trading, it's with everything. Thank you. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Great words. Great words of inspiration. All right. So, where are we? Where are we? It comes down to going through the process, right? And I'm gonna wrap this up pretty soon, right? It comes down to going through the process. And everyone says it. I know everyone says it, but look, this is my own spin on it, right? I don't care if you mess up, but you got to go through the process, right? Think of it like a baby learning to walk. You know the baby's gonna fall down. You know the legs have not been developed all the way. The little muscle tissue, right, those haven't been developed. So think of that as more of like the hardware, right? The physical, right? And you can see that as hey, in trading, you can see that as your strategy, right? That's the physical stuff, right? But then think about the baby's brain and the neurological connections to the legs and the feet and the toes and the balance that it has to go through and work through in order to program how to move your leg on command, right? We walk all the time. We forgot that we had to learn this program of walking, right? But we we had to go through that process, and that mental program in trading, it's the mental program to follow your strategy. All right. So when the baby's learning to walk and it's falling down, we don't say, "Oh, the baby sucks at walking." It just we think of it as, "Hey, it's learning to walk. It's developing its muscles and its mindset and everything that it needs to be able to walk." And it's not negotiable. You need your legs, one, and you need your brain to be set up in a way that understands how to move your legs, right? And it's the same thing in trading. You need a strategy and you need a mindset that knows how to follow that trading system, that trading strategy, right? It's two different things that goes into one result working, right? And I believe if we come into this, well, you guys already came into this, but I feel like if we look at the rest of our journey as more of us developing into the trader we are going to be, rather than us just trying something and we're either good at it or we're not, that mindset is going to make a huge difference, not only in your trading results, but the quality of your experience of trading, right? You're gonna be it is gonna be stressful, but if you make the shift of seeing yourself as a developing trader slash person, it's gonna take out a lot of unnecessary stress that other people who see themselves as a failure if something goes wrong, that's a lot of trauma that's being built up, right? So it does take seeing the positive side and being optimistic, and that goes into our personal development, which I say, doesn't hurt to read a book, and there's a bunch of different ways to develop ourselves, especially our mindset, to get to that optimistic mindset. But yeah, it does take balance. And if we aren't positive about ourselves, who is, right? I don't like to. I guess I don't know. Some people see the life or the world as dark and this and that, and I'm very much aware of all the dark. Not all, right? But a lot of the dark stuff is happening in conspiracy theories, this and that. But at this, and as much as you probably heard me talk about it in the past Wellness Wednesdays, I live a very, very zenful life, right? In my mind, right? So it's really, it depends on your perspective, and that's the power, right? The power of your perspective. Um, that leads the way. That sets the tone. And yeah, if you lose a lot of money, it's gonna be the way that you feel about that. Like I said, depends on on your mindset and your perspective. Um, if you make a lot of money, that's gonna depend on your mindset, your perspective, right? Like I had a great day the other day, and what was it? What did I say to myself? Well, like if I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, I feel rich. But then I looked at the long term and I'm like, okay, well, I actually want to do this and I want to do that and I want to do this in my life. That's going to require a lot more. So really what I just made was just a drop in a bucket. And that really shifted how I felt and how I like my mindset going into the next day. Right. So like having a short term mindset, is going to put you in a certain frame of mind. And you could easily shift yourself to a whole other set of feelings by thinking in a long term perspective. And you can make that perspective fun or boring. It's up to you, right? But I would rather make it fun and make it something meaningful. And or when I say fun, it means something meaningful to you, right? whatever means something to you is fun. And that's the work that we have to do for ourselves. Like, find out what's meaningful to us, set it as a goal, and design our trading in a way to meet that goal. Right. So maybe you want to, I don't know. For me, I want to take my entire family to the Caribbean. That's what I want to do. Right. It's going to take some bread. It's going to take some good amount of bread. Right. So, that means something to me versus I want to save up for, I don't know, something that I can't think of nothing that I don't care about right now, but just put that in the picture, right? I don't, it's not going to mean as much. It's not going to mean as much. It's not going to have no umph in my trading. I'm probably going to be, undisciplined because when I think about hitting my goal, it's just a goal. It's not a meaningful goal, right? So when we're designing our trading, right, system, our trading strategy, our stop losses, everything else, right, understand that's the hardware. That's your legs, right? You also gotta develop and design the software, your mind, which includes what is meaningful to you. Why should you get out of your trade when it goes against you? I know you know, but why should you? Right? This goes back to what Katrina said. Actually doing it, right? Actually doing it. We won't be able to do it unless it's something meaningful. And that's where that psychology comes into play because it's so funny how it's something is so simple and we're looking at it and we know it, but we don't do it. Right? You could put working out into the mix, eating the right foods into the mix. We know what to do, but we just don't do it. Right? The difference is when we have an emotional reason to do it.
It's chips all over.
And it registers, right? And it registers. Don't let that go over your head, right? Because that's another aspect of it. Maybe we found something meaningful. Maybe, but some people they don't get themselves together until they have a kid, right? I noticed that, right? They don't get themselves together until they have a kid, until something happens, whatever the case is. But just take that as an example that until there's something meaningful that we register, right? That's when we decide to do things. And in trading, there's a lot of things to do. There you have to first plan your trade, which is a big obstacle that a lot of people just simply don't do, even though you heard me say it, you heard Alexandria say it, you heard 10 other YouTubers say it, and 1,000 Instagram people or people on Instagram say it. So when does it actually register? Right? That's what we want to know. We got all this stuff downloaded, right? But when does it actually become installed? Right? Most of us got an iPhone, right? That software update notification comes down on your phone and you click, yeah, let's download this, right? But it's not only a download, it's two parts to it, right? It's the download and the install. So you gotta download the information, but even if you download the information, right, you have your trading strategy, you know what to do, you have the plan, you gotta install it into your brain. So that is that's the difference, that you have to install it into the brain, and that's going to be a mystery for most of us. How do we actually get the things that we want to register in our brain? Right? When does it actually click? And it's so funny telling you, to give you a view from my experiences. we will never know, right? The only thing we could do is keep on trying. It might take, like I said, something as simple as you taking your profit when you're supposed to, right? Doing that consistently. It might take you maybe a couple of days. It might take you a couple of weeks, months, or years, right? Because remember what goes into doing that, because it's to taking profit consistently requires a strategy, right? So you got to be consistent at using that strategy. And remember that strategy has different market conditions that it has to perform under, right? So yeah, you might take your profit really well in this condition, but what about the other set of conditions, right? So just something as simple as taking profit is going to take a while until it fully registers, for you to be a complete trader, right? And then, stopping out, following your risk. All of these are check boxes that you have to check in order to be consistent. All right. It all comes down to your mind, and it all comes down to being aware of it, focusing on it, and execute. All right. So yeah, this was the return of Wellness Wednesdays. It is now 9:00 p.m. and I know everyone got to get some sleep. Probably watch your favorite show, watch some NBA playoffs. But yeah, this is a good one. That's going to be it for today. I appreciate everyone for showing up, showing out, right? So the new plan, these Wellness Wednesday classes are going to be on YouTube. All right, they're going to be on my channel, Trading with Cam with a K. And we got the mentorship starting this weekend, right? The 4-week mentorship. It's going to be 8 live classes together. You're literally going to know everything about my trading system. I got 4 strategies that I use every day. One is a breakout strategy, one is a reversal strategy, and another one is a trending strategy. And then I have another one that is similar to the reversal, but using a different set of levels. So not only would you know my strategy, but you're going to learn my mindset. You're going to learn the risk management, the whole aspect of trading options, and A to Z. And you'll be able to ask all your questions as much as you want. I'll fully answer every single one, no matter what level you're at. And yeah, send me a DM or anything. I appreciate everybody for coming out tonight, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.